Hello.
Good afternoon, Nadine. Good afternoon, 𝗦𝘁.
Hey, Anton.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, good, buddy. How are you?
Not too bad. Nadine, can you hear us? There's a mic icon at the bottom of your screen if you want to try both Nadine and 𝗁𝘁, please. So, bottom of your screen on the right, if you can try the mic just to see that it's all good. Oh, dear. Do you want to try and leave the room and then come back, perhaps, Nadine? 𝗁𝘁 just did that. Tell you what, we'll get started and hopefully it'll be fixed somehow. So let's go live. I am a bit under the weather, so I may need to pause a few times and mute to sneeze because I'm losing it. So please don't mind that, guys. Right, actually. Sorry, let's go live.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you, man. That is nasty. Right, let's do this. Go live now. Why is it not going live? Go live now. That is very weird. Very. Let me try again. This is not going live. Let me see if I can just restart it just for a second. Okay. Oh, it is live. Right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Startup Growth Q&A. It's our 124th session. We've been doing these for over 3 years now, where we've had over 260,000 people join us. And we moved from Clubhouse to LinkedIn, which is where we're doing this. And the idea is quite simple. We're here to help founders grow your business and take it to the next stage. Therefore, any question is a go. You might want to know certain things about user acquisition, vendor, partner, client acquisition, some growth hacks perhaps, or just generic sales, marketing, branding, advertising, go-to-market, and all that jazz. This is the place to be for the next 58 minutes. For those of you tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that unfortunately, we're unable to monitor your questions there. Therefore, you would need to join us live here on LinkedIn Live Audio. There are two ways you can do that. One, you can perhaps go to our website, StartUp-to-ScaleUp.club, and that's where you'll find today's room, which is this one that we're on now. So Startup Growth Q&A 124. Otherwise, you may also just jump onto LinkedIn and look for Startup to Scale Up Club, and the last post there, it's today's Q&A, and you can join us live there if you want to ask us questions. Now, we'll go to some quick introductions, and then we'll open it for questions from the audience. So I'll start. My name's Anton 𝗁𝘁. I'm an Albanian in London working with startups normally. Right after they get investment, I embed within their teams and help them hire and keep the right people. I also do some growth advisory work, and especially lately, I've been doing quite a bit of work with some angels and family offices, helping them do due diligence and assessment. And now I think we can start perhaps with the lady of the house, and then we'll go with 𝗦𝘁, Jagdeep, and 𝗁𝘁. Nadine?
Thanks, Anton. Hi, everybody. I'm Nadine. I am a corporate marketer by trade, which I've done for numerous years, countless years, working with some of the largest brands, looking at acquisition, retention, digital partnerships. So that's really everything I do all the time. And aside from that, I run a company called 𝗦𝘁 Entrepreneurs, We help diverse businesses scale, get funding. We also have a really great community and run events like ACE Fest, which we've had twice a year. So yeah, anything to do with growth, small businesses starting up, expanding, that's my bag. Great to meet you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine.
Hey everyone, I'm Visar. I'm one of the founders of a creative agency called 𝗦𝘁𝗿𝗚𝗿. We do a bunch of marketing for video games. That's what we specialize in. Based out of London and Tokyo. The team is about 80 people. We do everything from strategy to creative, and then we do also a bunch of execution as well. So we actually make designs and trailers and videos and stuff like that as well. Yeah, I suppose my thing is also like sort of marketing, but very sort of focused on gaming. And a big part of our proposition is around building communities and sort of working with them to launch your products, your games, or whatever they might be. But good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Visar. Jag.
Hi, Jagdeep Bamra. I'm based in the UK. Over 25 plus years in IT across various industries, sectors, verticals, geographies. And what I do is mainly work with board and C-level members of organizations to get them to a good place. So this could be anything from improving return on investment, reducing total cost of operations, a startup to scale up to corporate. And my pedigrees as a fractional CTO, but also like a C-level advisory. I run a few companies in the UK. Most of them are focused on consultancy, advisory, and build. And I have a publishing house as well, focused on preserving Indian martial culture. So that's myself.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep.
Hi everyone. So yes, I have also quite a mixed and broad background: marketing, corporate, startups, lots of SaaS. I would say that my specialism in the last 10 years has been SaaS and B2B, and yeah, drive growth via various tactics and initiatives.
Well, that is brilliant. Thank you very much to all four of you. Well, lovely people, you've heard them. We've got today a brilliant panel of four quite different, but also quite similar in terms of growth trajectory panelists. And they're going to make themselves available for the next 54 minutes now to answer any questions you may have on how to grow your business to the next stage. So just a reminder, those questions could be on anything from user to vendor, partner, clients, acquisition, to perhaps growth hacks, go-to-market, partnerships, or just sales, marketing, advertising, and branding in general. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. All you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your questions. One thing to be mindful, and this is both for you as founders, but also us as panelists, let's try and keep our questions and answers to around a minute each and not longer, if we can, please. And for those of you that are tuning in via Facebook or YouTube, please be aware that unfortunately, we're unable to monitor your questions or comments there. Therefore, you would need to join us live here on LinkedIn. You can do that by either going to our website, StartUp to ScaleUp Club, or search for our page here on LinkedIn, StartUp to ScaleUp Club, and it's the last post. It's with today's link, so you can join us live here. As far as your questions, please keep them to growth today. If you have questions on other topics, please save them for the other events we run. So we run 4 in total at the moment. Mondays, we help you with talent. Tuesdays with product and tech. Today with growing your business. And Thursdays, tomorrow, with fundraising. And they're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And you can actually RSVP to any of them if you go to startup2scaleup.club. We've got them lined up all the way to the 19th of December. Now, just before we take some specific questions, so please get them ready. Here's a question that I often ask my panelists. What are your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth? Perhaps we can start with Zoe, then Jagdeep, then Nadine, then Visar, please.
Hi. So The question was, first thing you
do's and don'ts, please, 𝗤𝗍. What are your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth? And don't worry about repeating what you might have said before, because unfortunately, I see that founders seem to make the same mistake over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying to have a plan, you know, even if it's not a concrete plan, some sort of vision of where you want to be. And I'm not the sort of person to plan 3-5 months ahead, 5 years ahead. I would look at sort of the first 12 months, you know, what do you hope to achieve? Have, you know, the most important thing with any startup is people won't buy from you if they don't know who you are. Have all your mechanisms, your website, your social presence, have that all set up. It sounds obvious, but it's easier said than done to have all your messaging in the right place at the right time, especially in today's digital social world, you know, with all the possible networks we could be talking on, from Facebook to LinkedIn, etc. You know, have a communication strategy of what your initial messaging will be, positioning, that kind of stuff. Be crystal clear on it, because if you're not crystal clear, your customers won't be either.
That's a good point. Thank you very much, 𝗤𝗍. Jagdeep, what are your biggest do's and don'ts?
Yeah, so there's I think we because we go through this pretty regularly, there's a few which probably haven't been mentioned before. So one would be, and again, this is just based upon recent experiences, don't underestimate the importance of legal advice. And this would include contracts, intellectual property, compliance, legal, legislative, regulatory, and also aspects around AI, data, etc., which you may be kind of focusing on in your startup. So don't assume or don't neglect these as well. So very important to get that, and there's various ways to get it: pro bono, seek your network, etc. So legal advice doesn't always come at a cost if you can reach out and find the right people. The earlier you can do this, the better you'll be later on, and the less you'll have to fork out as well in terms of consequences. And just related to that is also networking. It's a double-edged sword in terms of its good and bad, but don't neglect that, because that's essentially where you can build up your likely ecosystem of mentors, peers, industry contacts, people who can provide you support, guidance, opportunities, investment, etc. Very important, but again, try and focus on targeted networking abilities. And if you're an introvert, it's probably something that you're going to have to learn to do, and especially for founders and potential CEOs, is you will need to become the face of the brand. So it's very important to start prepping for that as well. I would say is don't ignore cash flow and cash flow management, exceedingly important. Always have a plan in terms of where your money is going, how it's being utilized, what your rate of spend is, what your rate of input is as well. Especially in early stages when you may be getting friends and family or bootstrapping in some cases. There's, again, historically situations which I've come across in organizations where the money's actually stopped because there was no forward planning, and everybody downs tools, especially people who are not getting paid, e.g. developers, for example, and it's not a good situation to be in. So again, it's often neglected, but don't take it for granted in terms of your cash flow situation, and always be on top of your finances. The last one I would say also, again, very often ignored, is prioritize your mental health and your physical health, because burnout is not unknown in early stage startup, and that just includes founders, but also the executive team, etc. Is because you're working at this potentially 24/7. You do need a break, and in many cases that break is important, because if you start if you start the path of tunnel vision, you're not going to see the bigger picture, and you will ignore many things. And in many cases, the mental and physical health deterioration will impact people around you, and the company culture, etc. So those would be my thoughts of there. Again, I don't think these have been mentioned previously to the detail.
Good stuff, man. Thank you very much for that. And last but not least, 𝗏𝗍, what are your biggest do's and don'ts? Especially if you look back when you started 𝗏𝗏𝗏, what do you think you did not so well, and what you did well, or what you wish you would have done better?
Yeah, actually, that is a good way to look at it. I think definitely do make sure that you can articulate your vision, or first of all, make sure that you're clear about what your vision is. Be able to visualize what a successful product or company or whatever you might be starting looks like if you fast forward 5 years, and definitely do the research, and learn how to do that. Learn how to understand the space that you're playing in, the competitors, the opportunities to innovate, do something different, to stand out. So definitely do these things and learn if you haven't sort of learned how to do these yourself, if you can't get someone else to do that for you. I think it's really, really important as a founder or as a leader of a business to be able to do these things, or at the very least have people around you that can. And the other side of or the don't, I guess, well, I think a good piece of advice these days would be just don't be slow. Very often we sort of see that in the name of perfection, people takes a long time to get an idea to market, to road test it, to sort of see how it's being received, so do that product market fit. But in this day and age, with the help of AI, and we live in the age of information, everything is it's so easy to access the materials and documents and the training, I suppose, videos and everything. So you can learn everything pretty quickly, and you can figure out how to get something to market really quick. So basically, don't be slow in getting things to market, in the name of it being perfect. Good enough sometimes is good enough, to get an idea from the community, from the fans, from the people, from the customers, whether it's something that they want, need, and then you basically iterate on the back of it. So don't be slow, and definitely be clear. Definitely do be clear about your vision and the research around it.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much to all four of you. That is some golden advice. And now we'll go on to 𝗦𝘁𝗿 for a question on how to grow his business. 𝗦𝘁𝗿, please introduce yourself and then fire away what growth question you have for us today. There's a mic icon on the right-hand side of your screen at the bottom, 𝗦𝘁𝗿, that you would need to click in order to be audible. Otherwise, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Thank
go
you.
for it.
Yeah, thank you, Anton. Thank you so much. And I'm listening to this channel quite often. I get so much valuable feedback, insight, and advice. Thank you for that. So I'm building a startup addressing mental health concerns for university students using AI and ML. Okay. The problem that I'm trying to address is the stigma, because students are not aware of their mental health issues because of they do not have mental health education, and the main reason is the stigma, right? So if I ask somebody that how are you, and people will say that I'm good, and it's a very common psychology that we do not want to express, right? So though the university, they do have the best services like online content, counselors, students union, they do not have any clue what's going on in students mind. They are away from family, they are feeling lonely, they're under financial stress, they use social media a lot. So there are many factors which is impacting their mental health, and that's where we are trying to introduce a guardian angel who will continuously monitor students mental well-being, and also uh, will provide personalized guidance based on their personality, whether it is mindful meditation or exercise or music therapy, blah blah blah, right? Now my question, I just wanted to give a quick debrief about my startup before I ask the question. So my question is on related to market research, right? So I see that's a very important thing, and and I have been learning and that how to do market research. Like I have created survey, I have talking to the students and professors, right? uh, mm, mm, mm. So I just wanted to know your personal experience, right? So like what is the effective way? I mean, there are, like, if I study, there are, like, several ways to do the market research, but in real life, right, what actually does work, what does not work?
I
Because
hear you. So what's the
yeah,
best way to do research for this stuff that you want to build?
yeah,
That's a good question. Thank you very much for coming up again, 𝗦𝘁𝗫𝗁. I'll give you my quick 2 pence, then pass you on to my experts. For it depends on B2B and B2C, but because you're B2C, personally, I would look at doing 2 things. Number one, utilize research that it's already out there so that you don't have to put in a lot of work and a lot of money. And that's what I call sort of big data out there. That would help. And 2, you can do that, what is already out there, also via partnerships. Perhaps there is some university that already has done the research, and all you need to do is just access that. And then you also need to do research that is really, really niche and personal with, I don't know, 10 students that you are 100% sure that they are your ideal customer, and get to the bottom of it, to the point that it's almost uncomfortable for both sides with the research that you do. Because that way, only if you get to the bottom of it rather than surface research, you'll be able to come up with better features and better ways to do that. And there's only one way to do that. You need to get out there and go and speak to universities. They may have well-being consultants or well-being student welfare officers and so on. Those are the people that I would get in touch with initially to do that research. But would love to hear what the team here have got to say. So perhaps we can start with Visar, Zoher, Jagdeep, and then Nadine, please.
Yeah, I don't think I've got much to add to what Anton said. Mental health is such a huge issue for a lot of businesses, for a lot of organizations, because it has a direct impact on their performance. If people are not feeling well, obviously they're not going to perform to their peak, which means that that's going to impact, well, the performance of the business as a whole. So the B2C model is interesting because I'm not entirely sure how that would be monetized. But I think what Anton sort of said, this feels like a way to get this off the ground is to either build a small community and then basically start building your early adopters, your evangelists, and then slowly grow with your with the word of mouth. But the other way is every single organization, business will have people that are dealing with this. So that could be a good way to actually get research, because you can speak to them and you might end up with some interesting insight, but also at the same time, you might end up with some clients or maybe some partners. And also there's a lot of charities who obviously are, that focus on mental health and well-being in general. So that you've got quite a lot of a rich pool of organizations and people that really care about this stuff, and they do this day in and day out. So I think you're not going to have an issue finding people to talk to and conducting research, whether it's non-profit, whether it's businesses and corporates, whether it's academia.
Thank you very much, Visar. Zoher, anything to add? And by the way, I think I skipped Nadine for the biggest do's and don'ts. I'm really sorry about that, Nadine. Zoher, do you want to add anything to 𝗦𝘁𝗫𝗁𝗪𝗁's question?
Hi, yeah. So there's a number of ways you can do surveys, right? Where could you start? I mean, there's these companies that you can hire, like IDR, who will go out and carry out focus surveys for you. You describe your criteria of the sort of people you want to talk to. That requires budget. There's tools and technology like Brandwatch, where you can set up your own surveys. Obviously, if you have a mailing list, you can set up your own survey and focus groups there. SurveyMonkey. would be something I would look at. I wasn't too clear on what exactly you wanted to find out from them. So, you know, product market fit, do you want to see whether they'd be interested in your product, that kind of thing. And then the final thing that I would try is kind of building on what Anton said, you know, leverage other people's research. And I don't mean sit there on Google yourself or whatever and trying to find this nugget of information. You mentioned you're using AI and ML. And you must have heard of AI agents. I would set up an AI agent to go and do the research, go and do the digging for you, give it a goal, what sort of information you want to get back, and we'll go away and find you a ton of already created research. That's me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anton, and everybody, for giving me the advice.
Sachi, just in case, just before you go, can we also hear from Jagdeep and Nadine, or do you want to add something?
Sure.
Hi, yeah. So I think a lot of this has been mentioned already. What I'd also look at is the stuff that you can't get on AI or the web, which is actually speaking to psychologists. Given that you're targeting educational institutions, in other words, students that might be in schools, colleges, universities, it's probably worth speaking to some universities around what they have. So these could be school counselors, psychologists, educators, and actually get the data from them as well, because I'm sure in their careers and experience, they've come across individuals who've experienced mental health issues. And again, if your main focus also is to break down or get rid of the taboo, then part of this is also to get people lined up on the educational side as well to actually go on this journey for you, so they understand what you're trying to achieve and they can actually become ambassadors and champions. If anything, they might become people who can recommend your platform to students if they find a student in their class, for example, suffering from it. And so they could become advocates for your ecosystem and what you're trying to achieve. I wouldn't underestimate that. Also, there's a ton of mental health institutes around the world, and you can talk. There may be some in your local country as well, which you can go and find out. And a lot of these surveys may not exist on the internet. So again, it's worth speaking to people actually in this space who don't necessarily openly mention this in terms of what's actually happening. NGOs are very important as well, support groups, etc., who do charity work in this space. They would be very important. And again, to my earlier point, when you're speaking to universities, colleges, schools, etc., and people who work in there, also try and get partnerships, because they can help you do some of that research, especially if you're strapped for a budget. So you can maybe, as a result of that, get a focus group from a school or a university to do a pilot. And these institutions may be able to help you get some of your initial user base as well. So yeah, and I think the last point also is don't underestimate social media. So it's one thing putting out surveys, etc. It's another thing also tapping into social media, finding places where people are complaining about issues to do with mental health, and actually identifying what's going on there. And that may be another source of information for you as well.
That's a good point, especially hashtags. Nadine?
Thanks. So a lot of great insights so far. I'll just add a couple of things to that. So I would say, first of all, define the audience, because when we think of mental health, that is a very broad subject and you can get lost in the amount of information out there. So if you're specifically thinking about, university students, is it loneliness? Is it exam stress? What area are you going to hone in on first? Get that done really well, and then you can expand out into the other areas. But I would definitely decide what that niche is, and that could be based on initial research, which says this is the most important, or it can be based on some of your own primary research you do yourself. When it comes to engaging with students, gamification is a really great way to get them interested and to make it feel like a less heavy subject. So if you decide to do quick polls or to engage them on social media, how can you gamify that? Can you make it situational, i.e., I have an exam coming up. Out of these 3 answers, which one would you pick? Or these 3 images, which describes you, how you feel when you've got an exam coming up? That kind of thing will break the typical ways of getting information from the audience, and because of their demographic, age, etc., they're going to find that more easy to interact with than something that's a little bit more black and white, like a survey, for example. The final two, I'll talk from experience very briefly. I have a data research company called the Diverse Panel. If you want to engage with that, let's have a conversation. But when the first client that I started working with this, I did a pilot program, and that basically means taking a specific problem and then going to a specific audience and talking to them about that at length. So allowing them to talk freely, gathering all the information. And this doesn't have to be tons of people. I think for my pilot program, I used 35 people. You could start as small as 10, as long as you do multiple, researches with them. And then off the back of that, create something. So a prototype for your app, and then retest with that same audience and ask them whether they feel like it's answered the questions or is delivering the service that you have expected. And then if not, continue with that same group to optimize and iterate your program until you get to something that really works for them. So yeah, lots of good answers from everyone today, and we hope that we helped you.
That is brilliant. Thank you very much to all four of you. And last bit, 𝗦𝘁𝗿, if I may, in terms of practical things to do, I've actually been lately trying to get in touch with various universities on a project to do with our Startup to Scale Up Club. And whilst a good way to go about it is to look them up on LinkedIn, because it's easier to find who the person is, and getting in touch with them and getting a response via LinkedIn is not always easy. So my advice would be to look for either student operations or student welfare or well-being people, and put that in your search query. Try and send them an invite and personalize it on LinkedIn. But if you don't manage to speak with them, I get a response, then give them a call and say, I want to speak to this person dealing with whatever, because I'm working on a project. That's number one. And number two, I really like the idea of niching this down. And when you speak to these people, you may also want to try student unions, 𝗦𝘁𝗿. Either go directly to the main NUS, National Union of Students, I think it's called, or maybe each university, because they can help you but based on the information they give you, they can help you to niche this down. And I really, really want to emphasize how important niching this is for you. I hope you found it helpful, 𝗦𝘁𝗿.
Yeah, definitely. This is so much insightful and helpful, and I can't thank you enough, you, Anton, and all the advisors out here. Okay, I want to add a couple of more points as you did ask. So what I'm trying to achieve, definitely I'm trying to dig down to the problem. I know there is a problem. There is a mental health ecosystem out there, but still there are a lot of problems with the students, and because of stigma. Because I did some market research, I did interview a couple of at least like 30 to 40 students I know from them, right? Secondly, I'm starting with stress, anxiety, and depression, because mental health is a bigger subject. And based on market research, what we have found that stress, anxiety, and depression, the percentage is high compared to other disorders like eating disorders, personality disorders, ADHD, bipolar disorders, blah blah blah. And and that's why I'll start my MVP with these three and then expand it later, right?
Well, actually, if I were you, I would probably start with one of the three that is most prevalent. Personally.
Okay.
That's what I would do. And although I don't know that well, I would think maybe anxiety is the one that you could make most impact, but it depends what you have. Carry on, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Anton. Thanks for the feedback. And also through the market research, what I'm trying to find out the user adoption. I have done Gen Z psychology. They are different from us. They are different from millennials, and they believe in inclusivity. they are, they do have career aspiration. They want to go for brand, and also they are very tech savvy. The digital technology adoption is in higher rate, and we do understand, right, chat gpt is going to replace google at some point of time, even if I do not want to make any prediction, but that's how it is going, right? A lot of the times now we rely on chat gpt and everybody is using it. So the based on the interview that I have done with the students and the research, like they feel like if they can believe that, okay, this chatbot is trustworthy and it will keep the information confidential and secret, they will like to use it, right? But what is the strong motivation factor for them, and how the data collection can happen very creatively, right? As you said, right, I see you gave a couple of suggestion gamification through pictures, which is really good, right? So user adoption, how creatively I can collect the data. And also another point I would like to highlight, so it is not B2C, it is B2B, and this is from strategy perspective, because in order to mature the product, I need lot of users and data collected, right?
So
Because
when you say B2B, who's your client, Sabyasachi?
it is going to be the university and colleges.
Aha, the university and colleges. Okay.
Yeah.
That will, it's quite a long way around, and it's quite difficult to get to the clients, but you may find a way. So this kind of changes the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Let me finish, Anton, because so not necessarily my end customer has to be the university and colleges, but even if the strategy is, if I can roll out the pilot and MVP with B2B at a one go, I'll be able to engage with a lot of users. Like, let's say if I engage with university at a one go, I'll be able to engage with 500 users. In that way, like initial 1 year or maybe 1.5 year, right, I'll make it freemium.
I hear you. Have you spoken to any universities about this?
I have spoken to a couple of universities. The discussions
what was the role of the people there?
The role of the people there, like they will create a focus group.
No, what was their job? What was their profession?
They're like they're professors, and
Okay.
some of them
that is useless. You need to speak to the administration of the university. The professors have nothing whatsoever to do, and they don't have the ability to make any such decisions. What I would advise you to do before you start building and doing anything, if you want to focus and find out who your initial client or potential client is, you need to go and speak to the decision maker, Sabyasachi. Because for now, what you're telling me is that you're building something on sand. You're trying to build a castle on sand based on conversations you've had with people that will have no impact whatsoever on making a decision on what you're building. They may have some knowledge, obviously, because they're professors, but you need to speak to the people that will eventually be the ones that make those decisions. Until you've spoken to enough of those people, I would like to implore you not to start building or spending any money or time on this. That would be my advice. And now I hope you can understand that, because we've got other questions, we can't spend all day going around in circles on this. Is that okay, Sabyasachi?
Yeah, that's fine, Anton. That's fine.
Good man. Best of luck, and please do feel free to join us again, Sabyasachi. Right, a quick reset of the conversation. I see there's somebody here that was a couple of people that were sent in via Grow London Local. If you have any questions for us, please raise your hand. I'll bring you up on stage. You introduce yourself and then fire away with your questions. So we're here today to help founders grow your business from zero to hero. Any questions are a go, whether you want to know how to acquire users, vendors, partners, clients, maybe growth hacks, just general sales, marketing, advertising, branding, or perhaps go to market and various other partnerships. This is the place to be. We will be here for the next 22 minutes, so I think we may have time for another 2 to 3 questions. Please make them quick. please do not do what I do and just talk for hours on end. Please keep it short, basically. On the other hand, if your questions are not on growth today, please save them for the other conversations we do. We run 4 regular events: Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising. And they're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. You can RSVP to any of them via startup.scaleup.club. For those of you tuning in via Facebook or YouTube, please be aware that you need to come onto LinkedIn, otherwise we can't monitor your questions there. And now let's go on to Regina. Regina, please introduce yourself and fire away with any questions you have on growth for us. Thanks for coming back.
Absolutely. I love this place. My name's Gina King, and I run a cybersecurity organization. About 7 months ago, I built a cybersecurity assessment tool, and what's a bit unique about it is it has the capability to help organizations know where they stand in relationship to similar organizations in terms of their cyber posture. And I've had 40 clients so far. My question is, as I near trying to find investors or partners or teams, what will be some tips in terms of the dream team I should show up with to help investors feel comfortable with the product? Or if it's not the team, is there something else that's more important than the types of people I have on the team? Any insights on that?
Thank you very much. Although this is a question for tomorrow's room, Regina, which is on fundraising and investment. Personally, I would say 2 things. 1, traction is king in this situation, and 2, in terms of team background, they want to see a team that is well gelled together and in sync, but most importantly, powerful on products, i.e. building the tech side and also commercial. But if anybody else wants to add anything here, more than welcome to. The Cyrus or here, Jagdeep, Nadine, anybody?
So yeah. John Russell here. I do increase website traffic and
John, thank you very much for that. But let's try and answer Regina's question first, please.
That's what I was going to do. In doing that, it's uncovering the demand of what the products and service is that you are trying to sell or get investment for.
I know, John, but I think we should go with the panelist first. Thank you for wanting to chip in.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, it's Jagdeep here. So I think one thing to bear in mind also is that from an investor angle, it's one is the typical kind of attributes that the team has. So these would be things like leadership, complementary skills, as Anton's mentioned, but also more importantly is a track record and experience in that particular space that they've had, and understanding what the roles and responsibilities are. In some cases, it's very vague about who's actually doing what, and your main purpose is to ensure investors have, or even your ambassadors have, the confidence that they're investing in people, because ultimately it's a people play as well, not just tech or product or service. And as with regards to people, also make sure that you do have close advisors around you as well. So these would be kind of people over and above your existing team who can actually complement what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve. Any mentors you may have, any people you utilize as a soundboard, for example, and it's worth having them in the deck. Your main purpose is, from a unbiased angle, is to say, okay, looking at the deck or looking at the people that you have around you, would an investor be happy releasing their money to you to actually make your venture happen? And if the answer is yes, then you're on a good path. If there's any doubt, then I would say address that before you present the team to anyone. You may have to make difficult decisions in terms of swapping people in and out, getting rid of people, putting new people in. But ultimately, yeah, you do have to be a bit brutal at early stage, and it pays off later on. So that's just the nature, and it comes with the role of being a founder and a CEO of a startup, is that you do have to make difficult decisions as well.
Thank you, Jagdeep. Yes, sir.
I've got a very quick one because I do get asked this a lot. And the VCs are interesting beasts, right? So the one thing that I would say, while it is about revenue, traction, and the team that you put in front of them, so obviously these 3 things do play a part, VCs always look at, are you going to be able to hit the right numbers at a particular point in time? Like, look at the case study of Figma, I would say. No revenue, no traction, nothing yet. It got like some serious funding, and they had an incredible exit. VCs are going to look at, are we going to get the right level of exit? And you as a founder and the team that you put in front of us, can they achieve that or not? And a good thing to do to work that out is the VCs that you speak to, figure out, how do you de-risk? How do you de-risk some of their metrics? How do you de-risk some of the concerns that they might have based on previous investments they've got? And I think those two things can really help you get maybe better answers than the usual thing, which sometimes they tend to throw, which is, oh, you need more traction, or, oh, you're pre-revenue, so we can't invest. In a lot of cases, that's, pardon my French, it's bullshit. So I think like really figuring out what do you de-risk in order to get investment is absolutely key. Hope it helps.
Thank you, Vishar. Nadine, Zohan, anything to add?
I have a quick ad. My quick ad is, don't go VCs. I think you should go for an angel. Typically VCs, just listening to where you are, your position, I'm not sure you will be ready for that, and it will land on a huge amount of pressure. And if your question now is, who should I have in my team, it leads me to believe that maybe the team isn't there yet. So what an angel can do is actually help you create that team, as well as give you a cash injection. It will allow you time to get the right traction. And within that team, you definitely need to have some tech specialists. So I don't know your background, you could be the tech specialist, but within that team, you need to have someone that is going to give them absolute confidence that when you are looking at the competitive market, they are giving back accurate information, as well as someone that is able to sell, someone that is able to do marketing, etc. So having a rounded team is really important. And I would just say, before, there's this need to jump to VCs. I don't know where it started, but it just is ingrained in everyone that starts a business. But angels is more than likely your best first step. Good luck.
Absolutely. Actually, I would say stick to angels and accelerators at this point, Regina, until you made some money from what you're doing, i.e. you can show that this works. That's when you go to VCs. For now, stick with angels and accelerators. Last but not least, Zoha, did you want to add anything? You don't have to.
Yeah, really quickly.
We can't hear you, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Hardly. It's like you're speaking from the bottom of a pit somewhere.
How about now?
A little bit better.
I'm gonna give it one more try. How about this?
Still the same.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. Must be my internet.
I think it's your headphones, but maybe try without the headphones. I don't know if you're from your computer or your phone, but
I'm on my phone. Can you hear me?
Ah, yes, we can now, buddy.
Okay. Really quickly, having flirted with the investment world a few times and backed out at the last minute several times. From experience, they want to see the clearly defined roles. So CTO, Nadine mentioned the technology aspect. You need to have somebody to speak to that world. They want to know the technical details because they've experience of investing in similar platforms. So they're looking for similar patterns. And then the other roles, CMO, CFO, the financial plan, the marketing plan, the growth plan. Those are the three key roles I would take in with you if you can.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Thank you to all of you. Hopefully you found that helpful, Regina. John, did you want to add anything to Regina's question?
No, I mean, it was just more that know your data, really. So make sure that you're armed with the stats and you've got the demand for your product or service, so you can make a data-driven business case for your approach and your implementation and all the plans you're making.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope you found that helpful, Regina.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. And please do feel free to join us again. We'd love to hear from you. Right, a quick reset of the room. We've only got a few minutes, so please let's keep the questions as succinct as possible, and also our answers. We're here to help founders with whatever questions you may have on growing your business to the next stage. Those questions could be on anything to do with business growth. So user, vendor, partner, client acquisition, growth hacks, go-to-market, sales, marketing, advertising, branding, and all that jazz. All you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your questions. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze, so feeling well today. Sorry, everyone. John, did you want to ask any questions, or shall we go on to Shahid?
I mean, I've got a great one. We've got a technology that we can help grow organic website traffic extremely fast. What's the best way in the audience's view to scale that fast?
Okay, that's a good question.
If we're looking for partners.
Okay, and what is your niche? Do you have a niche that you're focusing on?
SEO. Well, we improve website traffic and we increase website traffic, and we don't need access to the website to do that. I can just deploy it remotely on URLs.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much for that. John, I'll give you my quick 2 pence and then I'll pass you on to the experts. I'm glad you mentioned the partnership part, sorry. But what I would do first and foremost, I would ensure that you have a value proposition that is very niche. Looking at your background, for example, I see you've done quite a bit of work on the recruitment side of things, although mostly marketing in recruitment. It may be a good idea to focus on that, because I would rather be known as Anton, who is the guy that gets recruitment agencies, at the top of Google, than Anton as the guy who helps any company with SEO. So personally, I would really hammer down, because what happens there, 1, you show expertise in that. 2, it's easier to capture one market rather than any market. And 3, you spend less money and resources by doing that. So personally, I would first and foremost focus on maybe 1 or 2 fields and maybe 1 or 2 geographies. But let's see what the others got to say. Let's start with Nadine, Jagdeep, then Zohe, then Bisar, please.
Thank you. Due to time, I'm going to keep this quite succinct. The question that startups ask the most is, how can I get traffic to my website? So I really think this is an area that you can help them, and in turn they can help you, because you're both going to be growing together. So SEO is kind of a little bit of a black box, but the good thing is you know it well, and these startups actually need traffic to their website. A lot of the times it's to do with SEO. So they're creating the content, they're creating what's on their website, they need to ensure it's relevant, and that's where you can come in. So obviously you can go one-to-one, you can look at places like the IOD to find directors and then go to them in that way. You can also go to accelerators like Founders Institute, Foundervine, Hatch, etc., and they'll also be able to connect you with startups. So I also like what Anton said, by the way. So I think that's a great idea. But other than that, I think find someone that really needs you, grow together, do a bit of a pilot with them, give some preferential pricing, or even give it some free for the first month or whatever it might be, so you can really get some good traction. Good luck, John.
Good point. Thank you very much, Nadine. Jagdeep?
Yeah, just to add on to what's been said, I would also look at what is called social proofs, reviews, testimonials, case studies. So what you're essentially doing is verifying and validating what you do and how you do it through known customers or people you've actually worked with. So that may also help identify the niche as well, is that you're not just saying things and you're not just another SEO company, but you've actually got a track record of successful clients and customers. That social proof can be in the form of videos, which you can then put on social media and other places, and that would increase engagement rather than just having flat files, PDFs or documents. So that's another one I'd look at. In some cases, you should also look at audio and leverage AI where possible, and that will help you in terms of improving that more professional and slicker approach as well. So yeah, those would be my kind of additions to what's been said already.
I actually really like that, Jagdeep. I've received from a couple of similar businesses lately to John's videos on LinkedIn saying, Anton, we've looked at this, isn't for this business, for Startup to Scale Up Club, but another one. We've looked at this website. This is where you're lacking. This is what we think we can do. And actually, one of them even went ahead and made some changes and said, look, all you need to do now is just copy and paste this code. And then he also sent video testimonials of other people that he thought I knew to back what he claims. Zohair, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. So it sounds like it's a technology solution. You're in a, I'm sure you know, a very competitive market. So for me, you need to scale your outbound, your sort of messaging, how many people you reach. To do that, I would look at automation, and to do that, I would, I mean, I kind of do something similar with sort of some of the SaaS, B2B SaaS companies that I work with, or I'm even developing my own B2B SaaS. And the technology stack that I would adopt is 𝗏, Ocean.io, Telescope, a decent CRM like HubSpot, and automate and scale that lead gen program to as big as you can get. Because as I said, you are in a very competitive market and you need to kind of stand out. So a drip and nurture campaign utilizing those 4 or 5 technologies, I think, will help you scale much faster.
Thank you very much, Visar.
I don't have anything to add. I think it's all been covered, but good luck, John.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, John, in terms of practical stuff, there's 2 other things. One, if you produce content out there that people will read, that can be quite helpful. And 2, if you go to, I don't know, I think Nadine mentioned this first, but if you go to a likes of, let's say, a very well-known and busy accountant, what I would do is I would do it free for them and say, I'm happy to do this free for you if you will then suggest our services to your clients, or a bank or a lawyer or whoever it may be, basically one that already has the kind of people that you want to come to you. That's what I would focus on. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's spot on. And, you know, I'm already chatting with Capgemini, working with the Evening Standard, working with the e-commerce business show, because we're really targeting those sites with a big footprint that need organic traffic. I know 100%, for example, it works on a couple of people's sites already here, which is fantastic. And, you know, we've got a partner model that, you know, we can work with to increase your revenue, improve your output, and help your business thrive as well. So, yeah, I mean, thank you very much indeed for all your suggestions. The social proof, we've got 300 reviews, 5-star. But the biggest one, I think, is the 200% uplift in organic traffic within a month for a chartered institute and marketing training provider, and we 5x their revenue inside of 4 weeks. So
that's good, John. But if I may, one last bit of advice, I wouldn't go at this stage to, I think you said Capgemini or others. I would go to something even smaller, literally accountants or lawyers or people who've got a larger amount, because with people like Capgemini, it's hard to penetrate those. And then the bureaucracy for them to then advise you to the others gets a bit tricky. I would go to those that will get you business even quicker, and definitely people like accountants or other services would.
Yeah, and absolutely, and you know, and it's not like that's the only cat in the bag, you know, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, the UK government's another one with business innovation districts and local chambers of commerce. So I'm just getting case studies together for them. You know, we work with Brixton Bid. They've got 600 businesses. We increased their organic traffic by 200%, and their keywords and organic traffic is at the highest.
You're going into advertising mode, and we'll leave that there, John. But
sorry, yeah,
no worries. Best of luck, and I hope it goes well. Rightio, team. There's a question that I've sent in the message. I know we are 2 minutes away from wrapping this up, but I would appreciate it because she sent it a couple of times now, and I haven't been able to do this last week. So, have we got time to answer that?
I do have a hard stop at 1. I'm really sorry.
No worries, man. Okay. Nadine and Zoe, can you stay here for a minute, or do you need to run as well? Yep. Nadine, can you hear me? I can't hear you, unfortunately. All right. Okay. Well, no worries. I guess
sorry, Anton. I got lost on the screen there. Yeah, no, I need to drop, unfortunately.
That's cool. Not to worry. All right. Well, this has been Startup Growth Q&A. How about some parting words? Let's start with Sarah, then Zohe, then Nadine, please. Sarah?
Nothing. Just keep doing what you're doing. The startup scene is incredibly exciting. I absolutely love it, and I have a lot of respect for anyone that is basically braving that particular world. I think it's awesome.
Thank you very much for that, Zoe.
Same sentiment. Keep going. There's a lot of opportunity out there.
Thank you very much, Nadine. You're not audible, Nadine. Do you want to try and leave and come back, or for some reason we can't hear you? Rightio, just a quick. We run 4 regular events per week. Mondays it's talent, Tuesdays product and tech, Wednesdays it's growth, and Thursdays it's fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. They're all live and interactive and for free here on LinkedIn Live Audio. Please do feel free to join us. We've got a website, StartUp2ScaleUp.club, where you can RSVP to any future sessions that we have, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for Startup Fundraising Q&A. We've got some brilliant investors joining us on the panel. Nadine, what are your parting words for us today?
Okay, my parting words is understand your tech. And this is nothing to do with anything particular today, but so many times when we are in a position where we need to do something important, our tech will fall over. So always practice your tech. It came up a lot in some other work I was doing. And the final thing is understand your market. Be sure that what you're doing, there's actually an audience for it. And yeah, good luck. Keep going, guys. You can do it.
Thank you very much, Nadine. And as far as my parting words for everyone here, just remember the startup journey can be both difficult but also quite exciting. So try to have some fun in the meantime and be kind to yourself and everyone else. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for Startup Fundraising Q&A. Have a great day ahead, and God bless you all. Bye for now.